actually doing your presentations. So let me go ahead and put this up. Okay. And we'll go over how to drop some bombs. Okay. First things, I'll show you guys this too. You don't really need to see this quite yet. Well, this is just like different. Like this is the total CPO and how much you would earn. So if you want to make 10 grand on the job, sell 33 grand. And this is your career sales and how much money you've earned on the job. By the way, if there's any of you guys that are really income motivated, after your first couple weeks on the job, we can sit down with you and map out some more long-term goals. Like I said, I mean, we do have one of my big like trophies is like when I have college students that graduate college with 100 grand saved. Most people never do that in their lives, let alone when they're in college. So if anyone would be excited about something like that, I can show you what it would look like and how to set that yourself up. Mason Linker, he's in our Tampa office. He's run a St. Pete branch. I mean, he's probably on pace to do like 200 when he graduates here too. So here's the key to dropping bombs. Again, it is a numbers game. You gotta get 10 appointments. And again, when one appointment cancels, book 2 more. Here's how you kind of sell the sets though. Okay. And I'm going to walk you all through them. You guys know the 4 keys of why you want to sell the sets, but let's talk about how to sell some of the bigger sets. So basic, medium, complete. The easiest way to sell them is to know who are the types of people that typically buy each set. Okay. So let me go ahead and put that up here for you. So you have the basic, medium, complete, homemaker, signature, and ultimate set. Have to cook, like to cook, love to cook. Okay, here's the basic set, homemaker plus state set. Here's how you want to describe it. It's like the little basic set. Okay, again, all it is 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader. Little tip for you is the smaller you make a set seam, the more manageable it feels. One mistake that I see new reps make is they'll make the homemaker, they just hype it up so much that it seems like the big old Mac Daddy set. Okay, and most people don't want the big old Mac Daddy set. Right? If you get the option of, if you go to Burger King or McDonald's and you have small, medium, large, what do most people get? Medium, something in between. Okay. Certain people are going to go, yeah, give me the large. Some people are like, I just want a little small. Okay. Most people are like, yeah, give me something in between there. Okay. So if you make this seem like the big old large set, they're going to be like, I probably don't need that much. Let me just get something small. But the reality is that it's not that big, guys. It's 7. I've got one sitting I've got 2 sitting on my countertop outside. It's just 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spreader. It only has 1 chef knife. It really isn't that much that's coming in the set. This is a very normal like knife block set to own. It's enough to get you by when you have to do some cooking, and it comes with or without 8 table knives. That's the basic set. Okay, if you want to take a little screenshot, put that in your notes. Medium set. Okay, here's the difference between the medium set. The medium set is the same thing as the basic set, but it comes with our 3 customer favorites, which are my literally 3 favorite tools that we make. It comes with the Hardy Slicer, the 5-inch Petite Santoku, and the cheese knife. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to go grab them. Sorry. I actually couldn't find one of them, but so here's how to understand them. Aggressive, the mini chopper, and compressed. Cheese knife is one of my favorite tools that we make. Again, this is God's favorite knife, and it's got the holes. It's got a micro double D edge on it, so it's one of the sharpest knives that we really make. And it's got this top is curved, so it's really nice for dicing, mincing, or chopping anything. It's got a built-in bottle opener for entertaining guests. You have the Hardy Slicer, which you guys can see right there. It's got a thick double D edge on it. These are literally came out of my kitchen now, so I should probably clean them off a little bit too. But and you can also look at the steel, how thick the steel is. I mean, it's real thick. It's very, very hefty. It's got a lot of weight to it. This is great for you can chop up sweet potatoes or just potatoes in general, meats, anything that's got a hard outside edge on it. It's really good for butternut squash. It will chop right through it. And it just gives you a little bit more range of access. This is a 5-inch Petite Santoku. So again, there's the shopping matters, but it really just giving Miss Jones a little bit more variety. If like, it's kind of like, again, the difference, like if you had a basic, very, very basic set of golf clubs, you just have one of each tool. And a more veteran golfer or something that goes a lot, they might have two drivers. They might have one and, two different types of drivers, maybe not just one driver. Same thing, if mom cooks every day, one of hers is always going to be dirty. And she'll be literally taking that same knife and cleaning it and using it and then put it back in the dishwasher and taking it out and cleaning it and using it and putting it back in the dishwasher. So it gives them a little bit more range of access. The 5-inch Petite Santoku is a slightly smaller chopper, and Santoku stands for 3-in-1. It's a Japanese term. It means 3-in-1. So you have the back for chopping, you have the middle for dicing and mincing, and you have the top for butterflying like a piece of chicken or meat. Okay, so the basics, the medium set is literally just the basic set with the 3 customer favorites. And the difference is you can get it with table knives or steak knives. So key number 1 on how to sell the larger sets, get the customers excited about the steak knives, because the steak knives do not come in the Homemaker set. You can only get it with the basic table knives. And I'll just tell you guys right now, the table knives are literally amazing. I have no lie, probably 30 table knives sitting in my house right now. And we use like 20 of them a day, like I use them for literally anything and everything. They're amazing. They'll cut anything you put on your plate. And once you use a Cutco steak knife, you never go back to using a Cutco table knife ever again. Okay. The Cutco steak knives, they just look better. I just bought my parents a complete set for Christmas. And they've had the table knives for a long time, but I was like, look, the steak knives are going to be way better for entertaining guests and things like that too. When you have people over, they just look nicer in my opinion. These work well functionality wise. These work better because they're bigger, but it's really just a personal aesthetic pleasure. These are a little bit more expensive than these, but they also, like, I'll tell you what, when I was a new sales rep, I feel like the majority of signatures I just sold to people that were going to buy a Homemaker, but they wanted the steak knives. No joke. I mean, that was pretty much the reason almost every single time they bought the larger set. It's because they wanted the steak knife. So that helps. The medium set is the most, so this is the most popular set that we've had since 1949. The signature set's the most popular set that we've had since it was made in 2009. So this set's only been around for about 10 years. All we used to have was the complete set and the basic set. But so many people kept buying the little basic Homemaker set and then adding on the customer favorites to it that we're like, all right, let's just create a new block so they have everything in one set. It's 10 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. It comes with the super shears already included, and it actually has a spot in the block for the super shears, which, you guys haven't seen. Have you guys seen the video of them cutting a penny and stuff? Once you guys win a free pair of super shears, we'll show you how to cut some pennies. But yeah, you used to do that. When we used to do physical in-person presentations, we used to cut pennies on all the presentations. And it's the basic set, just 3 more knives, really. That's the medium set. Complete set, this is the best value by far. Now, and by the way, here's what I want to tell you this. A lot of trainers out there will tell you that the complete set, every single person you know should buy a complete set. I'm not going to tell you guys that's the case. Now, if they love to cook, it's a great set. If they entertain it all, like, that's the best set. That's the one they should get. It's by far the best value, and it's the most discounted. However, the everyday average Joe doesn't necessarily need the complete set. Okay. I will firmly and confidently tell you guys, though, that I believe every single family in America should own a signature set. That's like that is one of my favorite sets that we have. It's one of the best sets for like the average family. But then, of course, for the people that like to cook, the complete sets, it's great. It's the best value by far. It's basically a food processor in a block. I would downplay the size of it, and it has everything you could ever really need in it as well. For sizing, sometimes customers will ask you, how big is it? How big is the block? Because they want to get a frame of reference. Easiest thing to do is compare it to a sheet of paper. Okay, kind of like this. This is an 8 by 11 sheet of paper. A complete set is the whole entire sheet of paper. That's the space it takes on the countertop. A Homemaker set is half of a sheet of paper. And then a signature set is 3/4 of a sheet of paper in terms of like sizing on how much space it would take in the countertop. Okay. Who buys what? Last thing to cover. Who buys what? Homemaker, typically families of 3 to 4 people. Mom, dad, 1 to 2 kids. Signature set. This is families 4 to 5 people. If they cook most of the weekdays or they ever entertain or have some people over, signature set probably makes sense. And if they love to cook or they love to entertain or they have a very, very nice kitchen, the complete set is usually the best one. Cool. And those are the best. And the easiest way to sell it is just knowing, who are the types of people that, buy each one. Cool. The only other thing that I can do for you is I probably won't go over this right now. I'll probably leave this here. Actually, we got some, I'll let Jonathan teach you guys in training. I don't know. Should I teach it? Jonathan, should I teach him the little dropping bombs phrase?
Yes, 100%.
All right. Yeah, I do. Okay. So this is kind of advanced. Okay. So before I teach this, let me preface this by saying the most important thing when you are closing is confidence. That is the most important thing. So if doing the advanced thing makes you less confident because you're scrambling around, then don't do it. Okay. It's better to go with what you know. That's the more basic version. That's why hey, follow the manual works rather than you try to make it more advanced. Like you usually sell less, even though you might be improving some stuff. It's usually like you're doing it in a less confident manner and that doesn't come across as well. So read that sucker really confidently, but I'm going to teach you guys a little kind of money phrase here. Okay. So if you'd like to do this, you have some other customers. What I would do is all you can do, this is the close. As I said earlier, a Homemaker Plus 8 set's the most popular set. Perfect for families that cook 2 to 4 times a week. Has the 10 basic tools I explained earlier, 8 timing knives, a wood block, and a sharpener for straight edges. We also have the Homemaker set without table knives. Now, if you were considering a set of Cutco, would you prefer the set with the table knives? All we're doing with that, by the way, is we're just asking them basically, so Ms. Jones, would you get rather the Homemaker Plus 8 or the basic Homemaker? All you want to do is if you want to start selling some of the larger sets, you just give them the option of rather than saying Homemaker without table knives or Homemaker with table knives, you say, would you like the basic, medium, or complete? Does that make sense to everybody? Let me go ahead and show you. Okay, so we went from this to this. Okay, and you'll just get the prices, and I'll give you guys all the prices here in just a second so you have them. But you would go from saying, hey, Ms. Jones, as I said earlier, let me actually just show you guys the visual. So if you want, maybe take a screenshot of this, and I will pull up the demo itself so you guys can see what this looks like. So again, the customer is on this section on set options. So I'm not going to hold this here. I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like from the customer perspective. Okay, so you say, hey, Ms. Jones, at twice the price, we'd be talking over $4,000 for a set of Cutco. So let me go ahead and show you what you get. As I said earlier, Ms. Jones, our Homemaker Plus 8 set is our most popular set. Perfect for families that cook 2 to 3 times a week. Our medium set, this is one of the best sets that we have available. It's just like the basic set, but it comes with the 3 customer favorites with the 5-inch petite Santoku, the cheese knife, and the Hardy slicer, and you can get it with the steak knives. And then the complete set is the best set that Cutco makes. Really has everything that you'll ever need in it. Great for people that entertain or cook as well. Now, Ms. Jones, if you were considering a set of Cutco, would you prefer the basic set, the medium set, or the complete set? Oh, you like the medium set? Well, the great thing, Ms. Jones, is that it doesn't cost quite $4,000. In fact, it doesn't even cost as much as the Woofsoft price of $3,435. So you can cross that off too. The Cutco medium set, Ms. Jones, is actually only blank pay in full, which includes shipping. Most of our customers just take advantage of our 5-month. You guys see what I'm doing here, by the way? So again, all I'm doing is I'm literally just saying, so Ms. Jones, and if you want to even make it simpler, whoops. Okay, if you want to make it simpler, just really, this is the main thing. Let me just take this and copy this. Okay, all you're doing is this. If you're considering a set of Cutco, Ms. Jones, would you prefer the basic, medium, or complete? That's really all you're saying. Instead of saying, would you prefer the set with the table knives? It's like, would you prefer the basic set, the medium set, or the complete set? You're just giving them an option to show those larger ones. Now, it doesn't really matter if you don't want to follow through and do this, just so you all know, literally, even if you just get a yes in the Homemaker set, another easy way to sell the larger sets, just get a yes in the Homemaker, call the office and be like, hey, they're cool with getting the homemaker, but they really like the steak knives. I wanted to see if, you know, we have any deals in the signatures or complete sets. Call the office and we'll give you a deal on those, and then you'll close one of those too. Another easy way to do it. Cool. Any questions on any of that? Does that make sense to everybody on the advanced stuff? And if anyone got confused by any of the advanced stuff, then just don't do it. Okay. Again, whatever you're more confident with, sell a lot of homemakers. Those will add up too. And then just call the office. We'll help you upgrade and sell some bigger ones here too. But that's really it. And then you'll call the office for help/deals. Okay. That's how to drop some bombs in your appointments. By the way, last thing is, again, a complete set. You can also, when you go to the gifts and accessories, there's also something called the Cutco Kitchen. You know, so built into your website, you'll have things like, I mean, I'll just show you guys real quickly. If you go to the customer website where the Forever Guarantee button is, there's actually a little secret spot on here. If you click on Forever Guarantee, unlock family and friend specials. Okay, and it has some things on here too, where like they can get, for instance, you know, cookware, flatware, and the knife sets, you know, for a special discount. You got to call the office for these ones. But, you know, a lot of people, a big order is when they get the flatware, the cookware, and the cutlery, or they'll get two out of them. We call that a kitchen. A Cutco kitchen is when they actually redo their kitchen in Cutco. Which, by the way, you know, if you ever have customers interested in that, the more someone buys, the more someone saves, always. You know, so it's not uncommon for people to do that. A lot of people will get a knife set, then they'll get the cookware a couple years later, then they'll get the flatware a couple years later on after that. You know, we're talking about like they'll get the Cutco kitchen over 10 years. But customers have the money to do it and they want to pull the trigger on it, they'll save a lot more money by getting it all at once. I mean, you're talking about a couple $1,000s in discounts and savings too by doing it all at the same time. So that's like what we call a big order or a large order. And outside of that, again, the goal is just to make sure we're selling something on every presentation that we go on, whether that's a veggie peeler, super shears. Those products make it easy to do that. But we're always starting from the top and working our way down. Any questions? All right, cool. Jonathan, you want to take a quick break here, or do you want to go? Let's take 5, and then we'll come back. And from here, guys, by the way, I'm going to let Jonathan wrap up the rest of training. So moving forward, Jonathan's going to go over recommendations. He'll show you how to put your orders online. Everyone's going to get a chance to do a little bit of practice and role play with each other to actually get some practice before your appointments tonight. And you'll get a chance to see a whole entire presentation from start to finish to make sure you feel good. And you guys should be able to get off of here early, I think, too, after we do all of that. So I will be done with training, but I will get a chance to get some updates from you all from your first few appointments here. And I wish you all a happy new year and a lot of success tonight as you kick off the job. Only thing I'll tell you guys beforehand, too, just remember success is a choice. And it literally all starts up in here. So just expect big and you'll sell big and you'll have some big results. I can tell you guys that for a fact. I've literally trained thousands of Cutco representatives at this point. And I feel I have a really good feeling about this group and this crew. So go out there, crush it. You guys are in good hands with Jonathan. We'll be taking some coaching calls and talking to you guys throughout the weekend, making sure you're set up on that regards. And I'll see you guys in advanced training. Cool. Or if you hop on the Alliance meeting tomorrow morning, I'll see you guys there too as well. So all right, I'll let you guys run here. Let's take 5 minutes, 3:40. Come back at 3:45. We'll get ready to rock and roll. All right, crew. Thank you soon. Jonathan, you want to take over music? Or you want me to put music on? Donk tricks.
here. Awesome. 3:45. Let's hop back in here. And yeah, like Mr. Evans said, we're going to be able to get out of here early. Luckily, we're way ahead of time as well, too. So waiting for some cameras to get up, waiting for Matthias, waiting for Alessandro, Tristan as well. Let's make sure we get our cameras up. Okay. And guys, we're on the last leg of training. You know, we've got literally recommendations, okay, which we're going to go over right now. We're going to do a quick role-playing session for you guys so you guys get to practice, do an actual presentation before going into your first one, like first official one. After that, I'm going to show you how to put your orders in online. You're going to see me do the full presentation, and that's going to take like 15 minutes, and that's literally done. We're literally finished with training. So honestly, yeah, we're way ahead of schedule. Actually, I'm pretty surprised. Like you said, it's a really, really good group. I'm really, really confident in you guys. Never been this on time before, or never been this ahead of schedule before. So that's a really, really good sign. So let's go ahead and hop into this. I'm just going to ask you guys for your attention, your engagement for the last section of training here. I'm going to be asking you guys questions, and I need you guys to unmute and answer some questions for me as well too here. So we're going to go over recommendations, and this is easily the most important. Well, probably not the most important, but arguably one of the most important sections within training, okay? Arguably one of the most important sections within training. So if you actually go onto the manual, okay, here in the top right, you can see where it says recos, okay? If you click on that, you'll see a recommendation approach, right? Now, here's the thing. Florida Coast, and especially here in Metro Miami, we are really, really, really good at getting recommendations. Okay, we're really, really good. The reason why is because we do not use the same recommendation approach as everybody else. Okay, so what I want you guys to do from now on is ignore that. So never click on recos on the website ever. You do not need it. Everyone go ahead and look into the Zoom chat. I just posted two things: recommendation approach and the recommendation sheet. We're going to go over both. You can go ahead and click on the recommendation approach now, okay? But there's really, really just 5 keys to the to really, really getting recommendations and crushing it. 5 keys that you really want to have written down. 5 keys that's going to guarantee you 10, 20, 30. We have students that get 60 on virtually every single appointment as well too, okay? And we're going to go over each of these, okay? So 1, making sure that you're doing it, asking for recommendations before placing the orders. 2, the law of contrast, which I'm going to show you in the script as well. 3, making sure that you're using the sponsorship. 4, making sure that you're using the Google Sheet. And then 5, ask again. Okay, so we're going to go over all of these one by one. Now, first things first, let me ask you guys this question. Okay, let's say you get a no sale, right? Let's say this is an appointment where the person doesn't buy. Do you still want to ask for recommendations on that appointment?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Matthias, why is that?
So you get more clients.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It doesn't matter if you got the sale, it doesn't matter if you didn't get the sale. You always want to make sure that you're asking for recommendations. Guys, recommendations is like the gasoline to the car that you're driving, which is your career with Kakao. So you always want to make sure that you're getting recommendations as well, too. I sometimes go as far as to say, like, it's almost more important than the sale, because you can always sell one homemaker with Mrs. Jones, but hey, 10 recommendations, guys, you got to start looking at that as, hey, that's 10 homemakers, essentially. That's 10 sales. That's worth way more than just that one individual as well, too. So arguably recommendations, like I said, are extremely, extremely important. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and walk through the recommendation approach here, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some tips as well. So I'm going to pull it up. Let me get a reader really quickly. Anybody who wants to read? Let me see here. All right, cool. Tristan, you're going to be my reader, my man. So go ahead. And then, by the way, I'm going to be pausing you at certain sections as well, too. So just look out for that. So, yeah, you can go ahead and get started.
By the way, Miss Jones, how did you like my demo? Great. And do you remember the $150 sponsorship I was telling you about earlier? Well, there is one more very important part. Here's where you can really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, and I only call people I've been personally recommended to. So what I need you to do is grab your phone, please open your contacts, and list down 2 to 300 people. No, just kidding. Just 10 to 20. That might be nice enough to take a look. I'm not necessarily looking for people who you think will buy, just people nice like you willing to take a look.
Okay, cool. And you can pause there. You can pause there. So nice stuff, especially the first time. We're gonna go over a couple quick things here. Okay, we're gonna go over a couple quick things. Now, first things first. Okay, first things first. As far as what I want you guys to do in the beginning, and you can go ahead and write this in your notes. Okay. One thing that I always like to do before I get into the recommendation approach is I like to ask this question. It's kind of like how kind of the transition from the demo into the recommendations. I don't want you to write it down. It's just, hey, Mrs. Jones, did you like Cutco? Okay. Hey, Mrs. Jones, did you like Cutco? All right, Mrs. Jones, did you like Cutco? Awesome. And by the way, Mrs. Jones, did you like my demo as well too? Great. Perfect. Okay. Well, hey, Mrs. Jones, there's one more very important part. Okay. Or actually, and do you remember the $150 sponsorship I was telling you earlier about? Okay. So actually, guys, we have a $150 sponsorship. When you click on the scholarship sheet, which I'm about to show you right now, and I'll go over this in just a little bit. For every 10 recommendations you get, which are these smiley faces right here, the company gives you 100, or every 50 sponsors you get, every 10 is the sponsor. Every 50 sponsors you get, the company gives you $150 for towards books for school as well. Okay, so that's just $150 sponsorship that we've got going on as well too. Okay, so hopping back into this, let me go ahead and do this. Okay. And I'll go ahead and read it. Nice stuff, Tristan, but I'll go ahead and read it with a little bit more of a enunciation and highlighting what needs to be highlighted. So, hey, Mrs. Jones, did you like Cutco? Great. And by the way, Mrs. Jones, how'd you like my demo? Great. And do you remember the $150 sponsorship I was telling you about earlier? Perfect. Well, hey, there's one more very important part. Here's where you can really help me out. Now, Mrs. Jones, I get paid every time I show Cutco, and I can only show people I've been personally recommended to. Okay. So what I need you to do is grab your phone. Please open up your contacts and let's jot down 200 to 300 people. Okay. I'm just kidding, Mrs. Jones, just 10 to 20. Okay. And let me pause right there, by the way. Guys, this section, this is a joke. Okay. This is a joke. Guys, I've seen people, okay, not Tristan, by the way, but I've seen like reps who've been on the job for like months, who when they read this line, they go, all right, Mrs. Jones, so please open up your contacts and let's jot down 200 to 300 people. No, just kidding. Just 10 to 20. That might be nice enough to take a book. Okay. That's awkward. You don't want to do that. Okay. It's a joke. And by the way, guys, this is what we call the law of contrast. Okay. This is the law of contrast. I mean, essentially, right. When in the actual presentation, right, when we're telling the customer, hey, you know, if the homemaker is twice the value, twice the price, twice the value, twice the quality, you expect to be twice the price, you expect to be $4,000. When compared to that $4,000, how much does $200 sound? How much does $289 sound? Very, very small, right? So in the same way, guys, when compared to 200 to 300, when you ask Mrs. Jones at first to recommend you, hey, Mrs. Jones, go ahead and pull out your phone, recommend me to 200 to 300 people. What are most customers going to say? Most moms are kind of probably going to be like, Jonathan, what the, like, no, there's no way. Like you're funny, you're joking, right? But guys, after you say 10 to 20, how small does 10 to 20 seem to 200 to 300? Everyone kind of understand? Same way, hey, 289's a whole lot smaller compared to that $400. Okay, so when you're pulling this off really, really well, when you're joking, guys, when you want to make sure that you're laughing at this section, okay? Because you also want your customers to make sure it's a joke. Okay, last thing you want Mrs. Jones to do is like, what did you just say? Like, what does that mean? Okay, you want to let them know it's a joke. Mrs. Jones, just write down 200 to 300 people. No, Mrs. Jones, I'm just kidding. It's okay. You just write down 10 people, 10 to 20 people that might be nice enough to take a quick look. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for people who you think would buy, just nice people that like you that'd be willing to take a look. And by the way, The way the sponsorship works is every 50 sponsors, the company gives me $150 that I can use to pay for books and whatnot at school. Now, Mrs. Jones, all you have to do, and I'll just keep on reading this so you guys can follow, but I'll show you what to do after. All you have to do to be a sponsor is just get to the first smiley face at 10. And if you get to 20, you can be a double sponsor and count twice towards the sponsorship. So, Mrs. Jones, I have your sheet open right here. Who's the first one we can jot down? We can start with the names and we can get back to the numbers. Okay. Thank you so much for your help, Mrs. Jones. I really, really appreciate it. So right here, you want to go ahead and turn to the sponsorship sheet. Okay. Recommendation sheet. Really quickly, everybody go into the chat, open the recommendation sheet, open your recommendation sheet, go to file, and then click make a copy. Okay, go to file and then click make a copy. You want to make sure that you have this. Now, couple things going on with this recommendation sheet and why this is vital. This is the reason why we get more recommendations. Okay, so it's something called social proof. Okay, guys, it's something called social proof. All right, this is a little bit of a psychology thing, but humans do what other humans do. Okay. People do what other individuals do. Anyone ever heard of monkey see, monkey do? Yeah, cool. It's the same thing with Mrs. Jones. Hey, if I'm doing a presentation with Mrs. Jones and all of her friends just bought homemakers, what do you think Mrs. Jones is going to do? Yeah, she's going to buy a homemaker. If all of her friends buy homemakers, she's going to buy a homemaker. If Mrs. Jones clicks on the sheet and you're scrolling through and all Mrs. Jones sees are people giving you 30 recommendations, 20 recommendations, 40 recommendations, 50 recommendations, so on and so forth before she gets to your sheet. Same way, what's Mrs. Jones going to do? She's going to do the same exact thing. Okay, she's going to do the same exact thing because humans typically do what's socially acceptable. So if it's like, hey, everybody that I see always give me 10, 20, 30 plus recommendations and they see that for themselves, then they're just going to go, oh, okay, cool. So this kid naturally gets 20, 30, 40 plus recommendations. I guess it's pretty normal. I guess everybody gives him that much. I'm going to go ahead and give him that much. In the same way, if all you have is like one, Mrs. Jones is going to be like, all right, well, I guess it'd be pretty weird to give this kid like 50 people because like I'm going to be the only one that has ever done that. So the way you want to set this up, okay, is in this exact same way. So you want to make sure that you have tabs already set up with your customers' names on it. So for example, well, I can't edit this as a view only, but if, for example, let's say I had a customer coming up like Miss Doreen, right? So what I'd do, I'd edit this name. Let's say this is Miss Doreen's page, the empty one. I'd go ahead and name this Miss Doreen, right? And right here on the actual recommendation approach on the actual sheet, where it says start sharing Google Sheet. And while I'm saying this, right, where it says slowly click tab, click tab, click tab, this is what I'm going to do. So Mrs. Jones, I actually have your sheet right here. Okay, so like I'd be like, yeah, Mrs. Jones. So I actually have your sheet right here. Okay, cool. Here, Mrs. Jones. All right, so Mrs. Jones, I have your sheet right here. Now what you can do is yada, yada, yada. But essentially what I'm doing through there and what's presented here on the script is that you want to like slowly kind of click through the tabs so you can kind of show your customers the other recommendations that you're getting as well too. Okay, guys, there's this one time that I went to this lady. This lady's name was Naomi Betancourt. Okay. She had like this book club, essentially. Like she was like one of the moms who like ran this book club with a bunch of other moms. She decided to recommend me to every single one of the moms in that book club. It's about 30 people. Okay. So guess what I did? For every single mom that I went to in that book club, guess what I did? I pulled up Miss Naomi's sheet. I went, yep. So Mrs. Dion, I have your sheet right here. I go ahead and click through Miss Naomi's and they'd see, wow, okay, so Naomi even recommended this kid 30 people. And then they click through the next one of their friends in the book club that also recommend me 30 people. And I click through the next one in their book club that also recommend me 30 people. And I click through the next one in their book club that recommend me 40 people. How many people do you think they recommend me? Yeah, like 30 people. because everybody in the book club's giving them is giving me 30 people. They're recommending me 30 people as well too. Okay, so that's how you use the sheet and the approach together. Now I'm gonna go ahead and give you a couple quick tips. Okay, give a couple quick tips. Now, there's two reasons why people will give you a lot of recommendations. Okay, reasons why people would give you a lot of recommendations. Or maybe three reasons why. Okay. One, because they trust you and they enjoy you as a person. Overall, they like you. Okay. As in, like, hey, they're having a great time. Guys, if you see a movie, right? And it was like the best movie you've ever seen. Okay. Best movie you've ever seen. It made you laugh, cry, smile, like all emotions all at once. The plot was amazing. The characters were developed amazingly well. Best movie you've ever seen. Like, how willing and eager would you be to share with friends? Hey, you'd probably text a couple people after the movie, you know, like some people like to Snapchat or try and like put the whole movie on Snapchat, or you just post on Instagram or something. Oh my God, you got to see this movie, or so on or so forth, right? You tell people, and you'd be like, damn, this movie was amazing. Now, let's say it was not the greatest movie. Let's say like it was bad, like the character wasn't great. You fell asleep during the movie. It just wasn't, it just was not a good movie. Okay. How many of you would be that eager to share the movie with all of your friends? Yeah, I mean, exactly. You probably wouldn't. Okay, that's the same thing with the recommendations. So first things first, guys, if you're having fun during your demos, you're gonna get a lot of recommendations. First step to getting a lot of recommendations: have a lot of fun on your appointments. Have a lot of fun. If they're liking you and they're having a lot of fun with you, you're making them laugh, guys. I'm serious. You're going on Google, searching up dad jokes right before your demo and cracking a couple, like 3 or 5 in the presentation, have Mrs. Jones laugh. Guys, she's having a great time. What are all of her friends going to do? They're also going to have a great time when they see you. So Mrs. Jones is going to be like, hey, I just had fun for the last hour. I know all my friends are going to be too. She's a lot more willing. In the same way, guys, if you're doing like, you know, a boring presentation, not having a lot of fun, not laughing, not cracking jokes, in the same way, like, hey, Mrs. Jones, if she's like rushing you to get off of the Zoom with you, then hey, in the same way, you're not going to get a lot of recommendations. So first tip is making sure that you're having a lot of fun, making sure that you're having a lot of fun as well too. Okay. Now, another thing, and this was actually the first key to getting recommendations, was asking for recommendations before placing the order. Okay. So let's say you're getting a sale. All right. Hey, Mrs. Jones, you want to go ahead and get the homemaker set? Wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. You want to get the homemaker set? Yeah, sure. Cool. Now you want to ask for, as soon as you get that yes, okay, you want to go ahead and ask for recommendations. Anyone ever been in like a supermarket or like a retail store, and like you're checking out of all of your items and stuff like that? You already paid the cashier, and right before you're about to leave, right before you're about to walk out and exit the store, as you're about to take that footstep, that clerk approaches you and they're like, hey, you want to donate to this place? Or hey, you want to do this survey or something like that? That ever happened to anybody? How do most people feel when they're approached right as they're about to leave? As like, now they're mentally, hey, I'm about to go home. I'm done with everything I need to do in the store. How do most people feel about like taking that survey or donating to that charity or doing anything else in the store for that matter as you're trying to leave the store? How do most people feel?
They don't take it.
Yeah, no, they don't want to go. They're like, oh my gosh, dude, like I thought we were done. Like I'm about to leave. Okay. Now, if you're in the middle of paying, if the cashier is in the middle of checking out your items, scanning your stuff, you're already standing there. You're already going to be spending the time anyways. And while the cashier's doing that, they just go, hey, by the way, while you wait, do you mind like filling out this form really quickly? How much more likely are you to go ahead and fill out that form? Yeah, a whole lot more, because it's like, hey, I'm already here. I'm already standing here. It's not taking me more time, essentially. So in the same way, you want to approach that with recommendations, asking before you actually place the order. So while you're writing up the order and getting things in place and so on and so forth for the customer, at the same time, they're getting the recommendations for you, okay? Now, here's a couple of things, okay? I'm going to go ahead and give you the 2 biggest rebuttals that you probably get, okay? The 2 most common, I'm going to tell you why you should not agree with them. I'm going to tell you what to say Okay. And I'm going to give you 2 more tips after that. And then we're going to go ahead and move on. Okay. 2 biggest rebuttals that you get with whenever asking for recommendations. 1, sometimes you have some customers and they're like, hey, Alessandro, I'll just text you after. I'll just text you after. Okay. Never allow them to text you after. Reason why, recommendations is on like the lowest of their priority list. Okay. Now, this means that after the presentation, after the demo, guys, like once they're done with you, they're back to being a mom, which means they're back to whatever other like chores, whatever other kids that they have to do, whatever else they had on their schedule. And it's not that more than likely they don't get back to you intentionally, just because guys, like they just get busy. They just forget. And usually that's the lowest thing on their priority list. So more often than not, you find that a lot of customers, especially when they don't know you, you don't know them, they forget. They completely forget to ever get back to you. Even if they were like, hey, I'm definitely going to get back to this kid, they just forget naturally. Okay. So first things first, you want to make sure that you're always getting recommendations within the appointment as well too. You're always getting recommendations within the appointment as well. Okay. Second biggest rebuttal that you'd get is like, hey, let me call them first and get back to you. Now, guys, humans are natural procrastinators. Okay. Now, I know you all as college and high school students wouldn't know anything about procrastinating. But let me tell you something about adults. Adults are natural procrastinators, okay? Humans in general are natural procrastinators. Guys, if they're like, hey, it's the same exact thing with, hey, let me text them to you later, okay? It's the same exact thing. It's not that, hey, they're not in their mind like, I am going to get this to this kid. I'm going to help them out. I'm going to get them recommendations. It's just that everything else comes up. And the moment you exit that Zoom, that is no longer a priority for them. Everything else on their schedule after that time is a priority for them. So you always want to make sure that you're getting the recommendations within the appointment. Okay. So guys, asking for recommendations, it's really easy, especially as you're following the approach. Okay. You just want to make sure you're asking comfortably. Guys, it's like, and I'm talking to everybody here. Guys, it's like asking for a date, like, let me ask you. You think you'd get very far if you walked up to a girl or a guy and you're like, hey, do you maybe want to probably go out to like sometime somewhere? Or if you probably came up with some confidence with a smile and you were very, very energetic as well too. Yeah, you'd have a lot better chance making sure that you're coming up with confidence. So just ask very comfortably. It's just like asking for a date. Ask with confidence and a smile. The same level of enthusiasm that you're using throughout your demos within your appointment, you want to have that same level of enthusiasm throughout when asking for the recommendation. Okay. No weenie words. Do not use weenie words. What are weenie words? Does anyone know what that means? Anybody knows what that means? No. Mateus is laughing. That means words like, could you, maybe, do you mind, if you could, if you'd be so pleased to, like, no, guys, just follow the script word for word. Listen, like, and somebody brought this up in training yesterday. Somebody asked, hey, like, can we add other analogies, stories, so on and so forth? Yes. There are 2 places within the entire manual, however, I will never touch at all. You never want to touch 2 places. Closing, okay, from pages 8 and 9. You want to make sure you're reading that word for word in the recommendation approach. Guys, I'm like, there are sales reps that are over $2 million in career sales. They get 50, 60, 70, 100 recommendations on every single appointment. And they say the same exact recommendation approach, word for word, never changed. So you want to make sure this, like, if there's anything that you do not touch, close recommendation approach, making sure you're reading it word for word, making sure you're reading it with confidence. And then, of course, just having a lot of fun on your demos as well, too. Okay. So let me see here. I'm going to, by the way, after step 1, step 2 We'll go over that in just a little bit. Everything else you don't really have to worry about right now. We'll go over that in advanced training. But that's step 2 is just ask again. Okay, ask again. We'll go over this super quickly, and then I'm gonna have somebody read it here as well, and I'll be Mrs. Jones, and you'll go ahead and give it a shot as well too. So number 2 is ask again. Okay, and this was actually the last key, last step really in getting recommendations. Okay, and guys, the reason why you want to ask again is because most people, okay, most people right around here start tuning out. Most people right around here start tuning out, okay? Because here's the thing. Most people right around here, okay, the moment you say, hey, like I get paid every single time, I'm like the moment you start asking for recommendations, the moment you start asking people for recommendations, immediately they start thinking of what? They start thinking of like, hey, who else do I know that's going to go ahead and buy from this person? Who else do I know? Who can I write down? Like whenever you get those first 5, first 10, first 20 people that you didn't even have to ask again, that's the customer thinking, hey, who's going to buy from this person that I know of? Guys, are we asking them, hey, Mrs. Jones, who do you know that's going to buy from me? No, you're not. You're asking, hey, Mrs. Jones, who do you think is nice enough to just take a quick look? The reason why, by the way, is because sometimes, and you never want to do this as well either, but a lot of times your customers will prejudge their friends, and they will be like, yeah, this lady's never going to buy from you. And that exact lady might end up being the person that buys the most. In fact, there was this one time that I got recommended to this lady. I got recommended to, I don't know, 25 individuals. And this was the last person just to help me get to 25. And she was like, listen, I'm just going to put her here just so you can get your sponsorship. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like this lady, you don't even want to see her. Like, I'm pretty sure like she's seen Cutco like 15 times. Like she doesn't want to see it. Like, don't even call her. Like, just don't even do it. Regardless, I still gave her a call. She was like, yep, we can do the demo. This is when demos are in person. Went over to her house. Out of all 25 individuals that I did appointments with on that one, she was the only one who bought a kitchen. And I mean, frankly, she bought a kitchen. Okay, so she bought $5,000 worth of Cutco. The lady she was like, don't even go to, not worth your time. Like this person has already seen Cutco a lot. And it's actually a really funny story that I love to tell in advanced training. So just wait till advanced training, you'll hear it. But essentially, guys, like this lady, the person who she thought wasn't going to buy ends up buying the most out of everybody that she recommended me to. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're getting everybody. The thing is, most people start checking out here. Right before you say the line where it explains, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm not looking for people who you think would buy. Just nice people like you that are willing to take a look. So you want to ask again. The moment they're finish filling out their sheet, and let's say they get you to like 13. Oh, honey, yeah, here's 13. Remember, those first, however much they are, those are people who they think would buy. So you always want to be like, an easy way, by the way, to just ask again is be like, hey, Mrs. Jones, yeah, I actually noticed you're only like 7 away from that double sponsor. Do you mind just getting me to that double sponsor? Thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. By the way, Mrs. Jones, I'm not just looking for people who you think would buy, not necessarily looking for people who you think would buy, just nice people like you that'd be willing to take a look. Yeah. So Mrs. Jones, you could get me the extra 7 just so I can hit that double sponsor. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Everyone got that? Everyone got that? Pretty clear? Awesome. Cool. So let me have one volunteer here. I'm gonna have somebody read through it basically first time, and then we're gonna go into our role play session. We're gonna role play the recommendation approach, and then we're also gonna role play the close. After that, I'm gonna do the quick presentation essentially for you guys. I'm gonna show you guys how to put in orders. That should take like 2-3 minutes, and then that's all the training actually. So let me get somebody to role play with who wants to go ahead and read for me. Let's see here. Awesome. Yeah, Matthew, go ahead. Can you unmute yourself? All right, let me ask you, Tim. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Cool. So you'll be I mean, obviously you'll be Matthew, and I'll be Mrs. Jones. So go ahead.
And you want me to include the that little first thing too that we have?
Yeah. So Mrs. Jones, do you like Cutco? Yeah, that transitional phrase.
So, Mrs. Jones, did you like Cutco?
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, how did you like my demo?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was the best demo I've ever seen.
Great. And do you remember the $150 sponsorship I was telling you about earlier?
I do recall that actually. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, there is one more very important part. Here's where you can really help me out. I get paid every time I show Cutco, and I can only call people I've been personally recommended to. So what I need you to do is grab your phone, please open your contacts, and let's jot down 200 to 300 people. No. I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Just 10 to 12 or just 10 to 20 that might be nice enough to take a look. I'm not necessarily looking for people who you think would buy, just people nice like you willing to take a look. And the way the sponsorship works is every 50 sponsors I get, the company gives me 150 that I can use to pay for books and whatnot at school. And all you have to do to be a sponsor is just get to the first smiley face at 10. And if you get to 20, you can be a double sponsor and count twice towards the sponsorship. So I have your sheet open right here. Who is the first one? We can just start with the names and get back to the numbers. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it.
Boom. Awesome. That was really, really well. Let's go ahead and give him a couple quick claps, couple quick snaps. Gonna get a lot of recommendations. Last thing that I'd say, guys, just make sure you're going slow. You're gonna read this a lot as well too. And one thing that I always notice as well is that sometimes some representatives forget that, like, hey, you read it 100 times. You could probably even recite it, but your customers, this is like the first time that they're hearing it as well too. So always want to make sure you're going slow for them. Okay. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do, okay, I'm going to go ahead and set up breakout rooms. And this is a really, really important time. This is a time for you guys to role play, to practice, make sure you've got the recommendation approach out, and then the close. Okay, so that's pages 8 and 9. Once again, these are simply, in my opinion, the two most important parts of the presentations. The two most important parts of the presentations that you really, really want to make sure that you can nail. So, Jasper, I got you. Everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and put you into a breakout room. Let's see here. How many would we need? Yeah, cool. So we're going to give it about 10 minutes. Listen, the goal is for everybody to go over it at least twice. So each section. So pages 8 and 9 from the summary. So Mrs. Jones, let me go ahead and tell you the reason why so many people choose to invest in this Cutco, so on and so forth, and go all the way down from there. And then get to role play the recommendation approach twice as well too. You don't have to share your screen for this. You just want to make sure that you're reading the words and you're getting the tonality, and then making sure that it's flowing right as well too. Okay, and really be intentional about this part as well too, because nailing this, guys, you're going to be getting a lot of sales. You're going to be getting a lot of recommendations as well too. You might see me pop in and out of your breakout room as well too, by the way. That's just because I'm just going around kind of checking on people, seeing how they're doing as well. And I'm going to be able to hop in, give you some tips and so on and so forth if you need any or answer any questions. So let's see here. For anybody else who needs it, the recommendation approach and the recommendation sheet is in the chat. You want to make sure you have that up. I'm going to go ahead and create the breakout rooms, and we'll go ahead and open them. So we'll have 10, 15 minutes here on the clock. We are way ahead of schedule. So 10, 15 minutes here on the clock, guys. If we need more, we'll just take some more time, but really make sure you're getting some repetitions in. You're getting really confident with it as well too. And let's do it. Open all rooms. So you should be able to join now. Boom. Boom. Awesome. Jasper, I'm gonna move you to a room right now, and this is just for you to like get some practice in there as well. So you don't necessarily have to like say anything in there. This is just for you to go ahead and like kind of listen to it, get some at least kind of listen to the flow as well too. So let me go ahead and move you in, and you should be good. In the meantime, I would just start like reading over it itself. Just make sure you're following as well too, so you're not missing anything. You got it. Yep. So you can go ahead and click on join. Oh, snap. Did you get it? Yeah. So you want to click on join breakout room. As well, I'm going to go over, start from the beginning of the presentation. I'm not really going to go into like sharing goals, of course, but I'm just going to read it, kind of show kind of a little bit of the flow, tonality, and so on and so forth. So first things first is you want to have it. I'm going to do it as if the customer is sharing the Zoom. So I have this already set up here. And on the other hand, I have my script. This is just so you guys know like where I'm going and so on and so forth. So you guys can actually follow throughout the presentation as I'm reading it as well. Okay. So first things first, building rapport as well, talking with your customers, making sure that you're asking them a lot of questions about themselves, talking about them. We're going to go ahead and start from tie into goals. We're going to go ahead and start from here. Okay. So right here. So, and we'll go ahead and get started now. So Mrs. Jones, do you mind if I share some of my goals with you? Cool. Perfect. So, well, as you can imagine, a lot of my friends are just laying around watching Netflix right now. But I'm using this as an opportunity to build my resume and gain some new skills. So I really appreciate you seeing my demo. Mrs. Jones, I'm working with Cutco because I just want to overall boost my interpersonal skills. I kind of learn how to work with people. One day I want to open up my own cardiology center one day, and I know getting the business experience is going to help me. On top of that, Mrs. Jones, just want to boost a little bit more onto my resume, kind of show more work experience, Mrs. Jones, and not just that, but get meaningful work experience. I actually just started my my fast start contest, Mrs. Jones, and I have 10 days to hit $10,000 in sales, Mrs. Jones, which is going to be awesome. It'll probably be one of the hardest things that I do, but Mrs. Jones, I know I can do it. I'm really, really confident, and I've got the will to make sure it happens. Now, Mrs. Jones, and through Cutco, I can actually earn a President's Club letter, which will look great on my resume. And I also have a chance to win an All-American scholarship to help with school. So, Mrs. Jones, you know, medical school is not cheap. And unfortunately, neither is undergrad. So hitting that and getting that All-American scholarship, Mrs. Jones, where they essentially help pay off, an entire year of school for, the top students. I mean, that would be awesome for me as well. So Mrs. Jones, since I just started, I'm going to be reading from my manual. Is that okay? Cool. Awesome. And Mrs. Jones, like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything. But if you do see something you like, you can get it today. Not only would you be getting a great product, but you'd also be helping me out towards my goals as well, too. Now, Mrs. Jones, I'm only able to work through referrals. So my biggest goal today is that you, like me and Cutco, enough to recommend me to some of your friends. Now, Mrs. Jones, Cutco is awesome. You can buy sets or pieces, and we have tons of accessories and gifts. Mrs. Jones, we also have an interest-free monthly investment options, so you don't have to pay for it all at once. Now, just so I know, do you cook because you have to, like to, or love to? Okay, Mrs. Jones, you love to cook? All right, perfect. Mrs. Jones, you are going to absolutely love Cutco. Okay. Now, the first part of my presentation is just a short video that shows the quality of Cutco. After that, I'll show you some of the pieces in our basic set. So here's a few things to know. For number one, these are all real customers, Mrs. Jones. Some of them have had Cutco for decades. Also, I want you to notice the forever guarantee. This is what makes us a top-selling brand in North America. So, Mrs. Jones, can you check really quickly that double check that your volume is turned up so you can hear everything okay? All right, cool, perfect. And of course, guys, I'm not going to play the video for you. Now, you've already seen the video, but just make sure you're stopping at the certain points. Of course, 205, isn't that guarantee amazing? 410, ever seen a drawer like that before as well too, okay? So after the video ends, is where we're gonna pick it up. Okay, so Mrs. Jones, I'm gonna go ahead and start by showing you the pieces in our most popular set, which is called the Homemaker. So go ahead and scroll down a little bit past the video, and you'll see the two different colored Homemaker sets, and then a slideshow called Homemaker Set Pieces. Mrs. Jones, what I'd like you to do is hit the full screen button on that slideshow. Okay, it's actually next to the gear wheel at the bottom. All right, perfect. So Mrs. Jones, go ahead and hit the space bar, which obviously I'm not going to pull it up full screen because I'm reading, but go ahead and hit the space bar, and it'll pull up the first slide, which shows the Homemaker Plus 8. Okay, Mrs. Jones, do you see that? All right, cool, awesome. All right, so Mrs. Jones, you can buy individual pieces, but most customers agree that over a lifetime, sets are just a much better value. It's important to have the right tool for the right situation because of safety and efficiency. We actually have two larger set options for customers who love to cook, called the Ultimate Set and the Signature. But I'm just going to start off with the pieces in our basic set, which is most popular. It's called the Homemaker Plus 8. Now, Mrs. Jones, it has the minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as possible. Honestly, it's the best value for the average family. And Mrs. Jones, it actually starts with your paring knife. So Mrs. Jones, this is Cutco's ear knife. It has a long handle, which makes peeling and paring comfortable. Mrs. Jones, you'll use this for small jobs in the air, like apples, strawberries, bananas, but rarely ever on the cutting board. Mrs. Jones, that's actually why you have your trimmer. Okay, so Mrs. Jones, this is basically kind of like your small utility knife for small fruits and veggies. So Mrs. Jones, go ahead and click play, and you'll see how smooth this really is. Check this out. Mrs. Jones, you ever been cutting a tomato and it comes all squished and the skin, and it just looks horrible? It's terrible presentation, Mrs. Jones. Yeah, so Mrs. Jones, you will never smash a tomato ever again. And it's also great for cucumbers, oranges, lemons, limes. Awesome for slicing raw chicken strips as well too. And by the way, Mrs. Jones, look on the left. They have some pictures of the trimmer. Let me know, which color do you like better, the black, white, or red handles? Okay, cool, nice. You like the red, Mrs. Jones? Yeah, I agree. It's gonna make that kitchen pop 100%. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jones, everyone loves the versatility of the trimmer, but it's never used for spreading or serving. Okay, that's why you actually have your spatula spreader. Now, Mrs. Jones, the wide, flexible double D edge on this piece allows you to cut, spread, and serve sandwiches, bagels, lasagna, even cake. It's perfect for getting peanut butter and jelly out of jars with super smooth spreading, or getting brownies out of the pan. Mrs. Jones, you'll never really use this on like larger meats or on meats or large vegetables. Which is why, Mrs. Jones, you actually have your large utility knife. Okay. So, Mrs. Jones, this is basically your everyday meat knife for chickens and small roasts. It's also great for large summer fruits and tough vegetables. Wait till you see this one glide through a pineapple, Mrs. Jones. And right now, okay, cool. Yeah, Mrs. Jones, check that out. Mrs. Jones, how long does it usually take you to cut through a pineapple? Yeah, a lot longer than that as well, right? I mean, Mrs. Jones, just listen to it actually cut through the core. Exactly, Mrs. Jones. It's insane. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jones, and the turning fork that you see right there actually has 3 sharp tines, which makes it easy to turn meats and veggies and get things out of jars. Now, none of the pieces so far are used for larger foods. That's actually why you'd have your butcher knife. So, Mrs. Jones, this is basically like your heavy duty knife and it disjoints large meats. It's also perfect for like melon, squash, and separating frozen foods like hot dogs and hamburgers. Mrs. Jones, we like to say that it protects your other knives because it's the only piece in the basic set like strong enough for those jobs. Mr. Jones, like even watch how cleanly it goes through a watermelon. Yeah, it's never been that easy to cut through it, has it? Yeah, exactly, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones, check this out, by the way. I think we're about to do Fruit Ninja with it. In just a little bit. Let's see here. Boom. Look at that. 100% easy. By the way, Mrs. Jones, this might get you a little bit hungry as well if you haven't eaten today, but check this out. Boom, that's nice. That looks great as well, too. Now, Mrs. Jones, here's the thing. It's not a chopping knife, okay? That's actually why you have your petite chef, all right? So, Mrs. Jones, the high knuckle clearance makes it comfortable and safer for dicing, mincing, and chopping. We call it our delicate chopper, and it's great for the 6 S's: soup, salads, stir fry, stew, stuffing, and salsa. Now, Mrs. Jones, chef knives are for chopping, not really for slicing, which is why you have your bread knife, your slicer. So, Mrs. Jones, this is the best bread knife in the world, and the long double D edge makes it great for cutting cakes, shredding lettuce, and slicing through boneless meats. Mrs. Jones, this knife isn't really for anything like with a bone, okay? That's why you actually have your master carving set. And Mrs. Jones, this is kind of like a spare tire. You won't use it every day, but you'll be glad that you have it. So, Mrs. Jones, you ever like barbecue or do like family dinners or any special occasions at your house? Okay, cool. You perfect. You do? Awesome. So, Mrs. Jones, you'll use this for all the barbecues, the big roasts, the family occasions. By the way, having both forks in the set is important. So the turning fork actually picks food up and the carving fork holds meats down and is wide enough to go around the bounce. Mrs. Jones, can you see how over a lifetime you're going to use every tool in your basic set? Yeah, 100%. And Mrs. Jones, to complement your set, our table knives are used for every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, the wide blade and the rounded tip makes it safer and great for spreading. But with the double D edge, it actually cuts like a steak knife. We actually recommend 2 table knives per family member, so you just don't have to like wash them after every single meal. So, Mrs. Jones, check out how the table knives work on some tough leather. That's like some other fancy steak knife or something like that, Mrs. Jones. And they use leather because it's tough, like most like hard meats or vegetables. And Mrs. Jones, check out the table knives. Boom. Mrs. Jones glides through the easiest thing you've ever seen. Mrs. Jones, it's almost graceful how easily it glides through that leather, okay? Mrs. Jones, check out this next one, okay? So once again, a leather chest. Once again, some other like higher quality steak knife, I think, or something like that. Now, check this out. Boom. Easy as fine. Mrs. Jones, he probably could have made the video like 10 minutes longer by just doubling and adding more pieces of leather as well too. But they're awesome. And for our customers that like the feel of a larger steakhouse style steak knife, our 2 larger sets, the signature set and the ultimate set, both come with the option for steak knives instead of table knives. They've been unavailable for the past month during the pandemic, but they just announced that they're available again. The company actually had thousands of customers that had orders pending, waiting for this announcement. So, Mrs. Jones, there's a lot of excitement that they're back. Probably want to grab yours as well too. So, Mrs. Jones, the signature comes with 10 table knives or steak knives, and the ultimate comes with 12. So these sets are perfect for the holidays, or for when you have company over the house, or like when you're doing some of those like barbecues or family occasions that we were just talking about. Or Mrs. Jones, if you just don't want to run the dishwasher constantly, you'll just have some extra table knives or steak knives as well too. Now, Mrs. Jones, I'm pretty sure that you'd agree it'd be pretty dangerous to just have a bunch of high quality knives just floating around in a drawer, right? Yeah. So Mrs. Jones, our sets come with a solid oak wood block, which looks great on any counter. Okay. We also have storage trays for in the drawer or on the wall as well too. Now, Mrs. Jones, our sets come with a free cutting board. It's important to use a soft plastic cutting board because glass, granite, and marble cutting boards are too hard and will dull your knives. Now, to complement your homemaker set, we also have incredible gadgets. So our 4-piece entertainer pack has comfort grip handles and is, of course, forever guaranteed. So, Mrs. Jones, it comes with our 4 most popular gadgets all in one pack. And we're going to play these short videos one at a time, starting with the peeler. It peels in both directions, Mrs. Jones. This thing is awesome.
Double blade and it goes back and forth. This is awesome. No. This is like the coolest thing. Look, it goes back and forth. How cool is that? Within seconds. Now,
yeah, Mrs. Jones, my mom in the kitchen would like always ask me to like cut up different stuff, and then she'd always yell at me because I'm like digging out all the meat out of like the fruits and vegetables. Now, Mrs. Jones, this is not like me. Okay, this actually feels incredibly thin, and it peels in both directions. Mrs. Jones, this is the ice cream scoop. It actually goes right through rock hard ice cream. It actually melts it on contact because of the zinc alloys made in it. And it's also great for getting like melons out of, or seeds out of watermelons. Mrs. Jones, here we have the pizza cutter. Now, check this out. First of all, it's incredibly sharp as well too. And the blade actually comes out for easy cleaning. So you never have to have like old pieces of like a food in the middle. And then this is Mrs. Jones. This is our cheese knife, okay? Mrs. Jones, this is God's favorite knife, because it's holy. Of course, you can use that joke. Okay. So Mrs. Jones, it has holes so the cheese don't stick to it. It's also great for like potatoes, apples, pepperonis. Mrs. Jones, like it's called the cheese knife, but the name does it disjustice. This thing is awesome. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jones, let me review why so many people choose to invest in Cutco. I mean, for one, you'll always have sharp American-made knives that are comfortable, safe, and sanitary. Cutco is guaranteed to last forever, so it'd be the last set of knives you'd ever buy. And Cutco saves a lot of money. Most customers who buy Cutco eat out less. Now, if that saves $60 a month, it's $720 saved this year. Mrs. Jones, over 25 years, you'll save $18,000. Now, there are several reasons why so many customers choose sets. Cutco sets have the right tool for the right job. Cutco sets have a built-in discount, so it's cheaper. Sets come with a free cutting board and other free stuff. Sets are much safer because they come in a block or a tray. And we also have our interest-free monthly investment options, so you don't have to pay for it all at once. Okay. Now, Mrs. Jones, we're going to go ahead and exit the full screen. You can just hit the escape button. It should bring you back to the original page. Now, go ahead and scroll down to the next slideshow called Set Options. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and go full screen on that one. So let's go to the first slide where you see the Wusthof and Shun brand comparison. Awesome. So, Mrs. Jones, when it comes to high quality cutlery, I mean, it's like anything else. There's a wide variety of quality and prices. Cutco is top rated, so we only compare to the highest quality brands. So, Mrs. Jones, I actually have a price comparison for our top competitors, Wusthof and Shun. You ever heard of them before? Okay, cool. You've heard of Wusthof, Mrs. Jones? All right, perfect. So, I mean, you yourself are already familiar with like higher quality kitchen cutlery. So these high quality sets made overseas are two of the top selling brands in stores. I mean, each brand has different types of sets which range in price. And Mrs. Jones, Wusthof, right there on the left, that's actually the most popular. Now, the price for this Wusthof set is $3,435. And I mean, like sometimes you can find it on sale for like $2,000. Okay. Mrs. Jones, there are some major differences between these brands and Cutco. I mean, for one, Wusthof has mostly straight edges, so they need to be sharpened constantly, which is a hassle. They're not recommended for the dishwasher, and the warranty is on manufacturing defects only. Mrs. Jones, in comparison, Cutco has our unique wedge lock handle, the exclusive Double D Stay Sharp edge, and we have our 4-part forever guarantee, including our free sharpening. Mrs. Jones, Cutco owners will tell you it is 10 times better than any knives they've ever used. And I mean, just considering the guarantee and unique features, Mrs. Jones, most people would agree that Cutco is at least twice as good as Wusthof. Now, Mrs. Jones, when something offers twice the quality and value and lasts forever, I mean, you'd probably expect it to be at least twice the price, right? Mrs. Jones, do you have a pen and paper with you? All right, perfect. Go ahead and jot this down for me really quickly. Mrs. Jones, at twice the price, you're talking over $4,000 for a set of Cutco. Go ahead and write down $4,000 for me. Cool. And let me show you what you get. Okay. So Mrs. Jones, as I said earlier, our Homemaker Plus 8 is our most popular set. It's perfect for families that cook, I'd say like 2 to 4 times a week. It just has like the 10 basic tools I explained earlier, the 8 table knives, wood block, a sharpener for straight edges. Mrs. Jones, we also have a Homemaker set without table knives. Now, Mrs. Jones, if you were considering a set of Cutco, you'd prefer the set with the table knives, right, Mrs. Jones? Okay, cool. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, Mrs. Jones. Everybody gets the table knives. Perfect. Well, Mrs. Jones, the great thing is that it doesn't cost quite $4,000. So Mrs. Jones, go ahead and scratch out that $4,000 for me, okay? Now, Mrs. Jones, go ahead and write down $3,435. Cool, perfect. In fact, Mrs. Jones, it doesn't even cost as much as Wustof's price of $3,435. So go ahead and cross that out for me as well, too. All right, Mrs. Jones, you ready? Okay, go ahead and write this down. The Homemaker Plus 8 set, Mrs. Jones, literally only $1,326 paid in full, right? Which includes shipping. But most of our customers just take advantage of our 5-month interest-free easy pay option. And Mrs. Jones, go ahead and write this down right under that and circle this for me. That's only $289 today, and that includes tax. By the way, Mrs. Jones, we actually have a buy now bonus where if you buy now, I can actually give you an entertainer pack or a pair of super shears completely for free. Which one did you want with your set, by the way? The super shear or the entertainer pack? Oh, the super shears? Cool. Really love that. Awesome. Great. Well, Mrs. Jones, I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. Would you like to go ahead and try out your Homemaker set today and get your free gifts or get your free super shears? And smile and nod, get the answer, and then you call the office, okay? And then, of course, if it's a yes, by the way, quick walkthrough of what to say when calling in. If it's a yes, you call in. Hey, Jonathan, I'm here with my lovely customer, and they are definitely getting the Homemaker set. Okay, if they're unsure of anything, hey, Jonathan, I'm here with my lovely customer, and they're considering, okay, the Homemaker set, but they're unsure of this, that, or the third, okay? Everybody got that? Was it good to kind of see like a full walkthrough, kind of run, get a little bit of the tonalities, which, by the way, biggest things that I did, okay, if you just notice, wherever things are bolded, emphasize them, okay? Go slow, lots of enthusiasm, have fun, crack some jokes. All right, cool. All right, guys, let's go ahead and go over how to put in orders. This is going to be really, really simple, really quick one as well too. So let me go ahead and log in here. Cool. So this is how to put in orders. Okay. There's one more app. There's one more app I'm gonna have you guys download. Okay. And by the way, This just makes it easy to put in orders. Okay. It's literally like shopping off of Amazon. It's called the Cutco Orders app. Cutco Orders app. If you go to on the App Store, okay, it's the Cutco Orders app. It looks like this. It's blue. It's really, really nice blue. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to put it in online. So let's see here. Okay, let me go ahead and do this one. Okay, let me do this really quickly. Let me share my screen. Okay, what? Shared that wrong. Okay, a quick second. Boom. Okay, cool. So what you want to do, okay, on the Cutco Orders app, I'll go ahead and walk you guys through how to get into it. Let's see. Boom. Awesome. So, okay, cool. Got it. So first things first, when you get on it, you're going to be in the first page. It's going to go ahead and go over like career sales and so on and so forth. You want to click on the three lines at the top. Click on shop. Okay. And once you get to shop, by the way, like it's the easiest thing. And anyone ever ordered anything ever in their life? Cool. You're going to be really, really good at navigating this. Okay. So let's say, sorry, we just closed this for one of our students, a homemaker. Let's go over, right? Let's say your customer wants a homemaker set, right? So you literally go on, like, for example, kitchen cutlery sets. It's really, really simple. You click on homemaker sets and you can go ahead and customize it. If they want it larger French chef knife, the petite chef, let's say they want it in red. They wanted red or rather pearl. Love the pearl handles. Let's say they wanted the cherry oak block. You can see exactly what it looks like right then and there. Every single thing that it comes with. You can look at a 360 view of it as well too. Click add to cart as well. And let's say they also wanted the super shear. So you'd go back out of both of those. You would go ahead to accessories, scroll down. You go to accessories, add to cart as well too. Let's say they also wanted that as a pearl. You add that to the cart. Okay. Go to your cart. Really, really simple. To give discounts and stuff, we'll go ahead and walk you through it. Let's say they want the super shears for free. They're getting the buy now bonus. You literally, these three lines, it's the same thing on your app as well too, by the way. Click on it. Bonus. If they want to engrave their stuff as well too, they can actually engrave it with their names, so on and so forth. So if someone wants to go like, you give engraving instructions, Castell, if they want to put like their last name or something like that, they can go ahead and do that as well too. I think it's like $5, but it's really, really meaningful, especially when it's going to last a lifetime, or if someone's getting it as a gift. People usually engrave them. You click checkout. From there, it's like any other checkout website that you've ever seen in your entire life. Okay, you put in the name, the address, so on and so forth. The next step is payment and shipping methods, which is where all you have to do. There's going to be three options. If they're paying on the 5-pay, you click pay in 5-pay. If they're paying it in full, you click pay in full. If they're paying on another, like if they want to split them to 3 months, you can just click on 3 months, so on and so forth. Whatever it is, you click on that option, click next, put in the credit card info, place the order. Okay. Simplest thing, simplest walkthrough. Right after this, I'm going to let you guys out early here so that you guys can go ahead. A couple of you which haven't filled out that contract yet, you need to go ahead and do that first before this can happen. But once you do, I'm going to go ahead and launch you from training. You're going to give it like 10, 15 minutes. It's going to be ready before your first demo, but you're going to want to go ahead and sign up on vectorconnect.com. So let me go ahead and post all the links.
I have a question.
Here. Cool. Give me one quick second. I'm going to stay for questions at the end. Cool. So this is the links for everything. Okay. To input the order, the presentation, all the scripts, and so on and so forth as well too. And then of course, the recommendation approach and scripts are right above as well. Okay. So after that, you go on Vector Connect, you create an account. It's with the same exact email that you've used for everything since the exact interview. You just create an account. Once you do that, you log in. You can do the same on the app. And then honestly, just in my opinion, the app just makes it a whole lot easier. But if you want to like do it on the computer, like in front of the customer as well too, you can do it. After you get the sale, or while you're putting in the sale as well too, remember that you're asking the customers for recommendations as well, and so on and so forth through that. Okay, and that is it. Okay, so guys, you can now say you've officially graduated from training here in Cutco. Okay, and let me leave you with this. Yeah, Alvaro, let's go. All right, and let me leave you with this, guys. You know, right before I let you go, let me just say this last quick thing, and then I'll stay on for a couple quick minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything like that before they go into their first ones. Okay, but guys, remember, success is a choice. Okay, I think Mr. Evans just said this before he left. Success is a choice. Realistically, it just comes down to this right here, your mentality, approaching the job, approaching the situations. Everything happens in life twice, once up here and then here in reality as well too. So if you personally choose to be successful, if you choose to have the right mentality, if you choose to have the right attitudes and approach going into each appointment and overall within the job, realistically, even in life, guys, then success will come your way. Okay. Same thing will happen if you're not going with the right mentality, with the right approach, and so on and so forth. So guys, choose to be successful. Okay. Realistically, guys, you want to have a lot of success on your appointments. Realistically, guys, you got to remember the 4 keys. The 4 keys. Who can tell me the 4 keys? Who remembers the 4 keys? Who remembers the 4 keys? Okay, guys, you should 100% remember the 4 keys. Okay, number 1. Who's got me with number 1? I'm waiting for number 1.
Is
Right,
it
yeah,
body
hold on,
language?
notes.
Follow the manual.
Cool. Follow the manual. Number 2.
Customers.
Qualified customers.
See qualified customers. No, it's number 3.
Have fun.
Have fun. Have a lot of fun on your presentations. Have a lot of fun. Crack a lot of jokes. Number 2, see qualified customers. Make sure you're seeing MAT customers, married, own a home, have kids. Number 1, read the presentation word for word as well too. The 4th one,
Call the office.
Call the office.
call the office. Call in from your appointments. Guys, I'm going to be able to help you close on every single one of your appointments. Okay. Yesterday, we had tons of students who sold over $3,000-$4,000 just yesterday in the day. And let me tell you something. Everybody who sold over $3,000 and $4,000 in the day, they all called me from their appointments. I was all able to help them from their deals and from their customers. So as long as you're doing that, you're going to be doing well as well too. Okay. Other than that, guys, we are done with training. I just want to say that, hey, I'm really, really proud and excited for this group. It's always really, really fun, by the way, in our team. Like it's like your training group is almost like your pledge class or something like that as well too. You guys going through training and everything like that together. Really, really excited for you guys to get and mix in with the rest of the team as well. I know you guys are gonna love it. You're gonna fit right into the culture and the atmosphere. But all in all, guys, crush your presentations. Remember, approach with the right mentality. Have a lot of fun. Make sure you're seeing the right customers, using the approach as well too. Okay, and guys, call in from your demos. I already put the communication guidelines, so everybody here has the office line. Everyone here has the office line, and everyone here has my number. Cool. Second one would have been a problem. So, all right, office line, my number. Make sure for today, by the way, you usually call in the morning before you go into your first one. You don't have to call me today because I see you. I know you're going into your first one. So you can shoot me a quick text. Shoot me a quick text before you go into your first ones, guys. You have some time before your first appointment. So with this time, guys, look over the manual, get a little bit more accustomed to it. Like I don't remember, like Sarah, if I was reading the recommendation approach and I know I want to do it a little bit more clear, have it a little bit more smoothly, and I'll go over that a couple of times before my presentation. Other than that, congratulations, guys. Super excited for you guys to have a lot of success, crush your appointments. Let's go ahead and get that first sale out of the way, knock out the first promo as well too. And other than that, I'll stay on the Zoom if anybody has any questions for me, but you guys are free to go. I'll hear from you from your first demos. Let's crush it, guys. Perfect. You guys can go ahead and log
I
out.
have a question.
Hit me.
When we go to the order Cutco, like to place the order, it's asking for a user ID and then a password.